No problem. All right, we're officially started, and I have 7:32, and that's not too bad. Could we please have our president, Nick Molnar, or I'm sorry, a roll call, please.
Mr. Barker?
Here.
Ms. Darrow?
Here.
Mr. Engel?
Here.
Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Molnar?
Here.
Okay, if Mr. Molnar could please say the Pledge of Allegiance, after which we have Jeff Toring, who's going to say our invocation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, God, we stand here for another business meeting, and we start the meeting now with a few moments of your business. We take a few minutes to honor you, to recognize you, and God, we know that that in itself is worship, and we are thankful to be able to do that. We ask that you would give all the speakers and the listeners here wisdom, that you would give them the things that they need to think about as they speak. And anything that needs not to be said, we ask that you would just remove that from our minds. We'll thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor Toring. Pastor Toring is from the Liberty Valley Church. Okay, first item on the agenda today is a proclamation for Neuropathy Awareness Week. Ms. Seawright, yes, you're here. Okay, let me read this and I'll bring it to you, okay? Whereas peripheral neuropathy is one of the most common chronic neurological diseases in the United States, affecting over 20 million Americans. It is a disease resulting from injury to the peripheral nerves, the motor, sensory, and autonomic nerves connecting the spinal column to the muscles, skin, and internal organs. It usually affects the hands and feet, causing weakness, numbness, tingling, and pain. It can either progress slowly over many years, or it can become severe and debilitating. And whereas the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, NINDS, and other institutes of the National Institute of Health conduct research related to the peripheral neuropathies in laboratories at the NIH, and also support additional research through grants to major medical institutions across the country. Whereas this is the 8th year that Neuropathy Association has dedicated the 3rd week of May to raise awareness about the neuropathy epidemic and encourage people across the nation to take action against neuropathy. And whereas increased public education and awareness about neuropathy not only helps people who are living with this debilitating disease, but also encourages much needed research for more treatment options and cures. And whereas it is fitting to recognize the many health and care providers and researchers who help the patients live a better life with neuropathy, and who search for more treatment options and cures for this under-recognized disease. Now, therefore, I, Donald Cookta, Mayor of the City of Macedonia, Ohio, do hereby proclaim May 14th through May 18th, 2012, as Neuropathy Awareness Week in Macedonia, and urge everyone to work together to raise awareness of this disease that affects so many of our friends and neighbors. Mrs. Seawright, let me give this to you. perhaps you could take a minute and explain neuropathy to some people. I'll meet you down. Good job.
Thank you. Neuropathy, as he says, there's a burning, tingling of hands and feet, and many people don't know what it is. The main cause, many people will say, is diabetes, but there's several other causes, and because of that, I also started a peripheral neuropathy support group, which meets the second Tuesday of every month at the Shepherd Road Christian Church at 1:30 in the afternoon. I probably should have brought some of my cards with me. Oh, I think I did. I will leave them with you or anybody else that would like them. But as he read the proclamation, it is something that really needs to be more aware of, because sometimes people have it and they don't know what the problem is and they feel so isolated. So thank you for doing that.
We're more than glad to. Perhaps you can explain a little bit, is it a contagious disease? Is it?
No, it is the nerves, and anything outside of the brain or the spinal column is peripheral. And it usually affects the thing that's farthest away from the heart, which is the feet. And it often starts with maybe some cramping in the feet, burning, and then tingling and numbness. And it's hard to walk. Many of the people come with a cane or wheelchair because it can be that disability, you know.
Got it.
Yeah.
How did you get involved?
Well, I was diagnosed as idiopathic peripheral neuropathy, which means the doctors didn't know what the cause was. So it was I felt like all alone in the world. And then I found out about the Neuropathy Association out of New York City, and they said there was a group started in Wickliffe, which I went to, but then that was the year before we came here, which was 2000, and I started a group here, and been doing it now for 12 years.
Who's the good-looking guy you brought with you?
Oh.
There he is.
That's my husband,
Okay.
Seawright.
Mr. Seawright, nice to
Yeah.
meet you. Excellent, good for you,
Thank you.
and here you are.
Yeah. Maybe we could.
Your camera's talking to me, and
There we go.
and let me have one more with my,
Yeah.
All right, same price.
Yeah. This is for the newsletter. Eric Milanes couldn't come. Oh, but look for, if you know anybody that has it, also look in the newsletter. They always publish about the meetings.
thank you.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Seawright. Actually, it's Reverend Seawright, so these people give of themselves. That's wonderful. Next, we're going to move on to the minutes of the March 29, 2012 special meeting.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes from the March 29th, 2012, and the April 12th, 2012 meetings.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain
Opposed?
from the March 29th.
Okay. All right, the next section of the meeting is where we welcome your comments. You're welcome to come up to our microphone and please try and say directly on city business. And let's have our first person. Yes, sir. Please give your name and address.
Harry Iden, Red Bush Lane. I'm here to get some information on this ordinance about the allowing of shooting in the city limits. A little background so you understand where I'm coming from. I had 34 years as a policeman and 14 years in the private sector. And then I was also a range officer when I was on the department. But I question the ordinance doesn't cover what type of weapons, is there any backstops, people shooting. I mean, you have to just look. A few months ago, a young little Amish girl was killed by a bullet from a mile away. So I think all these things have to be looked at. Are we going to go further on this ordinance or what?
Yeah, I'm going to get together with the law director. If it doesn't get done by next meeting, we'll hold the ordinance at the second reading next week if we're not happy with the way it is. But yeah, there's a lot of things that are missing. I want to put a lot of more restrictions in there about the times of day, maybe even what days of the week can happen, and we need to define what a backstop is and how it's approved. I mean, there's stuff out there I've seen that would say this is a good backstop, this is not a good backstop, the direction it faces, the distances of the shooting, distances from the any residence or the people's property. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are missing from this, and I'm going to be getting together with the law director here sometime
Yeah, I
next
think
week.
also there should be some type of insurance just in case too.
Yeah, I think we did discuss that.
But the backstops would be more important because I've seen dirt backstops that aren't efficient. And especially if you're going to do shooting, they load up with lead and you can get a ricochet. And if you're shooting a high-powered rifle, that's going to figure.
And there is an issue of possibly different, do we want to allow all types of weapons? Probably not. Do we want to limit it to maybe just, certain types of weapons? Maybe that's something we can add inside there. And I'd be glad to get, if you have any more, just insurance issues, a good thing, I wouldn't mind to discuss, and any more like that, I'd be glad to hear from you.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot should be considered. It was with, as you will know, being a police officer, a bullet, once it leaves, it
Right.
doesn't know where
It's
it's
got
going.
no conscience.
And you have a city like this with population, kids, the amount of traffic that flows through here.
Another thing that was brought to my attention is possibly raising it, maybe making the acreage a little bigger or something like that. It's something I'm willing to discuss all those types of issues.
If I can ask, what is the purpose of this ordinance anyway?
I had a couple people that live in this city that want to do that, and I'm not going to give out their names or anything, but people that have got property said, why can't I go out in my backyard? And, I'm a reloader. Why can't I go out and test the round that I just did? And I thought if it's, it's something I'm willing to discuss with anybody. I'll discuss any issue with anybody. It seems reasonable that if somebody has got the proper safety precautions and they're doing it legally, let's go ahead and maybe look at doing it.
Okay. Yeah, because I like to look in further before anything decisions.
I think there's a lot more to be done on this.
Okay. If you need any information or anything else, I can give
I'd
you.
be glad to talk to you about it, because I think you get some very valid concerns and good ideas.
We know how to get all of it.
Yeah. I worked for him for a while.
All
All
right.
right, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Harry.
you for your comments.
Appreciate it. Are there any other comments? Public comments?
While
Yes,
he's-
sir.
While he's coming up, Mayor, I was going to ask Shane, what's a reloader?
Somebody that reloads their own hand ammunition. Their
So
own
they
ammunition.
make their
Yeah,
own?
sometimes that's what somebody's hobby will be, is they'll come up with different loads, and instead of driving, to the range and test it, they can go, if they got a range in the back of the house, they can go test it. Oh, this works or this doesn't work.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Yes.
I'm Louis Townsend, as you know, former candidate for council, and I have some things to say, but I wanted to make a little aside. I got in trouble over the holidays because I had my little 3-year-old granddaughter visiting, and she overheard me say something as I was watching council meeting, and it refers to bovine feces. So I promise not to say anything like that tonight. However, unfortunately, I saw some of the debate. I've been waiting to come here for a while, but some of the debate about this ordinance with adding health insurance to the council, and one of the comments that was made was that this would encourage people to run for council. Well, I remember when Jan Tully retired, or resigned, there was 15 people, including myself, that applied for that position. Sylvia Heineken, Ed over here, among others. So I don't think there was any incentive there to need the money to run for council. So I was a little surprised that that became such an issue and it became so embarrassing to talk about something so mundane. But anyway, my point tonight is I'm very concerned about the shopping center here in Macedonia, also the incoming Racino in Northfield. I live on Ledge Road. Now, years ago, I lived in Warrensville Heights. I was president of Homeowners Association. When they built Randall Mall, the promise was, even though that mall was in North Randall, which was a little village similar to Northfield, the promise was this was going to be great for the schools, it's going to be great for jobs, it's going to be this super because everybody be coming here. It's the biggest mall in the world. However, what they didn't tell us taxpayers is that the city police in Warrensville Heights would be catching the brunt of the crime and the brunt of the robberies and the brunt of the rest of it. That place started off being beautiful. It was the most largest shopping center in the country. We built a new middle school off the taxes. We built an addition, a high school gym. We did all sorts of stuff because we had this tax money. But we didn't think about, we had property tax. But the police and fire comes from city income tax. We never thought that this simple things that started off as being car thefts. They put some television cameras on top of the building, but it was such a huge lot, people started stealing cars. And then there was other things started to happen. Well, the police couldn't come over there, and then they had the shoplifters, and they built a 23-story hotel there, so you start having some of the vice crimes. So pretty soon we had to start having more police because, you know, just to handle that stuff, more fire, more safety forces. That came right out of the city budget. There was no coming back from the mall. Well, the next thing, the mall hired security because of these things, and they built little stands, so they put little stands there to watch over the parking lot. Well, word got out that that was machine gun nests because of so much crime. But what happened was people stopped coming. I mean, why would you go and worry about somebody stealing your car or being mugged or something like that? But the bill is still left there. You know, the businesses, you couldn't give them security, then they were not going to stay there. People weren't going to come. No matter how much stuff you put there, you start hearing about things going on in hotel, drugs, prostitution, all of this stuff. So people fled. So Ken Martin made a comment the other day, which is really true. These malls didn't die because of the color of the people that lived there. They died because of simple crime and the fact that the police were overwhelmed. Now I'm seeing this happen here. I'm seeing, you know, they're talking about bringing a Racino, we're going to have gambling, we're going to spend $250 million, but who's going to be watching these streets when the people come in there and leave there? On top of that, we promised the council, I should say, passed the income tax increase 2 years ago, and they said, well, this is only temporary, and we're going to cancel that in 2 years. It's not going to be on the ballot. I remember Dave Engel sat here and said, hey, you know, I'm going to be running then, so I know that this is not going to go on. So tell me now, how can we add more police and more safety forces just to protect ourselves, and you're going to lose that tax base, that added income tax, and then you're going to have to ask for more money to fill that in, then even more. Now, what 4 councilmen, or actually there'll be 3 then because they're talking about 5, who's going to run and ask to raise taxes? But it's obvious that, you know, we can't go on with a 22-man police force with all this going on around us. It's just not going to work. So I want people to start thinking about, you know, and it's happening already. Just like Mr. Martin said, they have armed robbery, and this is going to increase. It can't get any less. So how do we deal with it? And then, you know, like I said, we're going off a cliff because this tax increase is going to drop next year. And then you're going to be asking for double because to get us back where we were, and then you're going to ask for more to get more protection. So my thought is, let's start talking about getting some of these public officials involved. How about the county? You know, how about, you know, we're part of a group. Why should we have to suffer for, and I shouldn't call it suffer, but it's the truth. We're not going to get a dime out of that Racino, not as it stands. But our police and fire are going to be overloaded just protecting what we have here. So I want us to start thinking about that now, especially, again, what 4 people or 3 people are going to run for council and ask for a tax increase right off the bat. So I want us to start thinking about that. I have some thoughts. I'd like to help because I've seen this happen. But now's the time to start putting pressure on these public officials outside of here. Hey, Macedonia, we're glad to be the crossroads, but why should we be responsible for all this crime? So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Louis. You brought up some good points. Are there any other public comments? Yes, sir.
Mayor, Council, I'm glad to see Mayor Cookta, you're back in good shape, and I see that you had a speedy recovery. You look good.
Thank you.
First off, I want to thank the mayor and council and those that supported the rezoning of the skilled nursing facility. And especially I want to thank the residents of Macedonia because obviously they recognized that that rezoning issue was a good issue and it was good for the city of Macedonia, and we're moving forward with the project. And I'm here tonight to deliver a check for about $14,000 for the re-election, or for the election actually, not the re-election, but for the election. And the only caveat that I came here with is that I would hope that in the future that if a business is coming in that they not be put through the same gauntlet that I was put through in trying to get a rezoning of bringing in a $10 million project and creating hundreds of jobs. I think it's important that we not put somebody through the political gauntlet as I was put through. So I'm not looking for sympathy. I appreciate the fact that we got this passed. It's going to be a good project for this community, and it's going to be a great service for this community. So I just want to thank those that supported it, and thank you, the mayor. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for bringing in the check.
Here's that check for you. And I'm going to give the check to the finance director so he can deposit it.
Thank you.
We have several witnesses. Is there any other public comments this evening? Okay, seeing none, let's move right along with our pending and new legislation, starting with ordinance number 34-2012.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce ordinance number 34, 2012, for its first reading by title only.
Third?
Third?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, third reading by title only.
that I got lucky.
An ordinance amending various provisions of Chapter 1327 of the Building Code of the City of Macedonia by introducing rental property exterior inspections and fees therefore.
Mr. Mayor, I move we pass and post ordinance number 34 dash 212
Second.
according to law.
Roll call.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Darrow?
No,
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Ordinance number 34-2012 passes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to thank council. I'd like to
Go
thank Mr. Halad for all the hard work, and hopefully this will be a benefit to the building department, the residents of Macedonia. I want to thank council for listening. Thank you.
I just, one thing about this, I was a little leery about it at first. I want to make sure that we don't have mission creep on this. People, have got some rights to their own, personal property and things like that. I want to make sure that we uphold that, and I have faith that Mike is, but 10 years down the road, or when maybe you're not here 20 years from now, whatever, we want to make sure that we keep it confined to just this exterior, we don't want to start broadening and taking people's rights away. That's what I'm concerned about.
I want to thank the law department, too, for the excellent research they did in such a speedy manner.
Just briefly, Joe, you referenced businesses versus private. Could you maybe explain that part?
Yes, one of the Court of Appeals decisions in the state of Ohio affirming these types of ordinances, even some that went into more depth and more requirements, such as requiring the names and checks on the tenants and things like that, were upheld by the courts, the higher courts in this state, despite those more stringent requirements. And one of the reasonings behind it is that it's not a constitutional violation of equal protection when a homeowner lives in his own home as opposed to owning a home and renting it out. You're actually conducting a business. And when you are in a business relationship, that is renting out a home or a number of homes, it's a governmentally protected interest to make sure that it's being done the right way, that the properties are maintained and kept in the proper fashion for the health, safety, and welfare of all the neighbors and the other residents. So that's basically the distinction the courts have made.
Thank you. All right, moving on to ordinance number 35-2012.
I would like to make a motion to table ordinance number 35, 2012, establishing the Volunteer Ordinance Review Committee for, to look into it at a later time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to ordinance number 44-2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance 44-2012 for its second reading by title only, please.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Got it? An ordinance amending section 54910 of the Macedonia Codified Ordinances to provide limited discharge of firearm on personally owned property.
And what's your pleasure?
It was just to hold it.
It was just, it's
Oh,
just
I'm
a second
sorry.
reading, yeah.
Okay. Ordinance number 45-2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance 45, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance ratifying the agreement with Snyder and Associates, Inc. for the purchase of recreational playground equipment.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 45, 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Darrell?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Before I vote, I'd just like to say, I'd like to thank council for, actually, we're going to put this through no matter what, but this is an upgrade to our playground equipment. I think it's great for the parks, great for the community. It's a reflection of our community. I think it's good stuff, and we're moving in the right direction. So a very happy yes.
Okay, just for your knowledge, right in front of the council chambers is a conceptual drawing of how the playground's going to look. It looks too tough for me to try, but the kids will have a great time. Ordinance number 46-2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance 46, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing directing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Ohio Department of Transportation, enabling the city of Macedonia to participate in ODOT's contract for the purchase of road salt for the 2012-2013 winter season.
And what's your pleasure?
Move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 46, 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ordinance number 46, 2012 passes. It's been several years ago, but at one time, believe it or not, there was a salt shortage. And as the year went on and we needed salt, we literally paid through the nose for it. Now, it's May. Why are we thinking about salt? Because we want to avoid that situation ever happening again, because we got killed. We were paying as much as 150 a ton, was it, Jim?
We ended up paying 80, but prices were that high.
They were that high, 150. How much are we going to spend now?
In the 40s.
So that's quite a savings, and that's why you're hearing about it in May. Ordinance number 47-2012.
I'd like to offer ordinance 47, 2012 for its first reading by title only.
An ordinance establishing the pay range schedule of compensation for employees of the City of Macedonia effective January 1, 2012.
Okay, are there any other motions or legislative actions this evening? Hearing none, let's move on to correspondence. The clerk.
I have none, sir.
Next is the mayor's report, and I'd like to tell you that construction is still moving forward in Macedonia. We're close to finishing Shepherd Hills Boulevard, and the road construction for other neighborhood streets will be going out for bids now. So in June, we should be getting those bids back. That means that there's a lot of roads out there that are in dire need, like Berkshire, like the road on 82 over by the rec center, and others will be addressed this year. These roads that'll be repaired are kind of in addition, because this is the city's direct cost to the Highland Road Bridge. The Highland Road Bridge continues at a good clip, but you know what, folks? Don't forget to patronize those businesses there, because you have to go out of your way maybe to go to them now. It's critical that you do that. We don't want to lose them. The Highland Road Bridge is being built with 95% federal funding. So that's not where we're spending money as much as we are for our local roads. I'd like to thank our service department and fire departments once again for playing such an important role in the water main break on 82 by Aldi's. The speed of getting the road back open again was truly amazing, and it was a result of our employees working together with Cleveland Water that made it happen. Now, the road will have to be fixed. How extensive will the fix be? No one can really be sure, because of the undermining effects of a water main break. In other words, you got a big hole now with plates over it, but did that water go underneath the pavement and cause maybe caves to form? And someday somebody will fall in there. Well, to make sure that the total picture is known and prevent those kind of sinkholes from developing, we will have a company that has sophisticated radar equipment that will check the road on both sides of the leak and next to it. It is our effort to be proactive in stopping further problems from developing. Fix it once, fix it right. At this time, we are still pursuing the redesignation of Route 8 from a limited access highway. Another entrance/exit would have been a very good thing when this water main broke. It caused such chaos on Route 82. It would have been great to have a right in, right out, and we are still pursuing that. As far as the businesses there, we have a total consensus for the need, and that it would be an improvement for those businesses. We're looking for the landlord of the shopping center to foot the bill once the city lays the groundwork to make it happen. The graduating class from Nordonia High School will be celebrating the completion of their high school education and moving on with their lives. I wish all of you the best. Congratulations on your graduation. Good luck on your future endeavors. And I'm sure there will be many parties to be had in our neighborhoods. Be safe. And remember, there's no overnight parking on our streets. So if you have a car and you're going to have somebody decide to stay overnight, get that car in the driveway, or it will be ticketed, and that happens usually every year, right, John?
Yes, sir.
Once again, our new playground is getting closer and the work moves forward to get the site ready. Don't forget, the city will be hosting a fireworks display on Friday, August 3rd. And the total funds received by our courts from April was $33,143.53. Moving on with committee reports. Do we have any committee reports?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, there's going to be a planning commission meeting Monday, May 14th. And just to let you planning commission fans know, even though Monday, May 28th is a holiday, Memorial Day, the planning commission meeting will take place the day after Tuesday, on Tuesday, May 29th. The only thing I want to mention, Mr. Mayor, this meeting is important insofar as Winking Lizard has proposed an outdoor patio, which will have a great effect upon that site, and we have let the other tenants of that retail strip center know that this meeting is taking place concerning that, and we've invited them. So I'm looking forward to their attendance. In addition, Mr. Mayor, I visited 2 Club Golf this weekend, and it's very busy, and they did want to announce that they have a special to play their course, $5 for 9 holes. So any of you would-be golfers can certainly spend $5, $10 and help out this new addition to our community, which seems to be taken off on a very, very right and good foot.
Thank you, Ken. That was a very important step for the Planning Commission to go to the surrounding businesses and ask their opinion as to what was going to happen with the Winking Lizard, because the Winking Lizard having a nice outdoor eating patio would take away parking places. And they're at a premium there. Thanks, Ken, for asking for that, because it's better to be proactive and ask for input rather than be reactive and have to deal with problems after something is done.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And, you know, same to Lou, too, for bringing that up. Since you have experience in that area, it's nice that you bring that experience to council and let us know about the problems that we can perhaps anticipate and therefore either ameliorate or prevent. Thank you, Lou.
All right, are there any other committee reports? Hearing none, we're going to move on to department reports, starting with you, Jim.
Yeah, I'd like to advise residents that there's a bit of a mess at Longwood Park due to the installation of the new playgrounds. We're in the process right now of tree and stump removal. Then they're going to have to raise the grade a little bit so that we have proper drainage of that equipment. We've also done some electrical upgrades to the pavilions. We're to do some sidewalk installation and then the restoration work after the playground installation is done. So we foresee the area looking untidy for the next couple of months. We're trying to get the word out to any shelter renters so that they are aware of what the conditions are before they they show up for their party. Obviously, some of these aren't done in the winter time. We weren't sure of what, that we were going to get the approval for the playground equipment. So please check and make sure that it's to your satisfaction. Otherwise, we'll try to get your money back. Service crews are working on the crossover pipe replacement at Cherokee Run and Comanche Trail, and also one at 495 Blue Jay Trail. I'd like to also advise everybody, Saturday, May 12th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., the Nordonia Hills Garden Club will be hosting their annual plant sale at the old fire station located at 9683 Valley View Road. Also in City Hall, we recently painted this first floor from the council chambers through the police department first floor. We're also doing some ceramic tile in the fire department, and we're going to continue painting in there also. If anybody's wondering, the Route 82 road repairs the mayor mentioned, Monday morning between the hours of 9 and 2, a company will be out there to x-ray the pavement to make sure that nothing is undermined, and if it will, then further repairs will have to be done. We're estimating right now just the hole that's there, that repair will cost approximately $20,000. We are reimbursed by City of Cleveland Water for those repairs. Also at the parks, the contractor began installing the backstop canopies this morning. That's all I have.
Very good. Mike?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to thank council for passing the rental ordinance. I think it's an important tool for zoning. I appreciate that. In the engineering department, Shepherd Hills, storm sewer is complete, the curbs are complete, and we're awaiting pavement. Weather permitting, that'll be done shortly. As everybody knows, we received the commitment letter from Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. I'm going to be meeting with them soon on maintenance issues for Indian Creek. We're still working on the Akron and Cleveland water study, as well as the Route 82 Phase 3 plans. We've been meeting with ODOT, and we had our first few meetings with them. Things are going well with those plans. Highland Road is progressing satisfactory. We're still reviewing plans for the Broadway-Ravenna Road intersection. URS is still working on the Route 82 traffic study along near Speedway. GPD is working also on the roadway bid packets. We're looking at the bid opening being June 1st, 2012. We're going to advertise in the paper on May 17th and May 24th. And new home starts are 9. Homes are under construction right now are 42. We have 4 additions, 8 alterations. The Villas of Taormina Phase 2 is on their way, and they're going to be pouring pavement this week. Old Speedway has been demolished. And zoning, we have 114 point of sales done this year and 102 zoning violation letters sent out so far. That concludes my report.
Very, very busy department. And, you know, it's kind of amazing because nobody would ever expect that a department would want something that would give them more work. And this ordinance tonight will cause your department more work, but you're still for it 100% because you feel it's the best way to go.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
And thank you for what you do.
Appreciate it.
Angela.
Good evening. We have a couple new programs that we'll be offering for the first time through the Recreation Department beginning on May 20th, which is puppy preschool. And then we also have dog obedience class, dog fundamentals. Puppy classes are for puppies 20 weeks and younger, and then the dog obedience classes are for 20 weeks and older. These will take place at the Recreation Center with a combination of being indoors and outdoors, and this is through WAG's University Training Program. So we're excited about that. We're also excited to announce that we're collaborating this year with Solutions Behavioral Consulting as a new summer camp opportunity for our summer day camp that runs throughout the summer for kids 6 through 13 years old. This is an opportunity for children with autism to participate in our summer camp and be fully integrated into all of our daily activities. They'll have one-on-one counselors. They'll have one-on-one counseling time during the day of their normal camp day. If you are interested in participating in this program, please feel free to contact me at the Recreation Center, and we can get you set up in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott?
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. The summary report for Rita through April shows the collections of $2,308,000, and that's 14.8% higher collections for the year at the end of period 4 as compared to last year. And a result of that, 14.8% of that is partly due to the 0.25% increase. 52% of that money is. So out of the total of $316,307, $163,000 was directly attributed to that 0.25% increase, which really shows a growth, though, of 7% in collections from last year, which is very good. Total, as I mentioned, was 14.8% higher at this time as last year. The state auditor's been in. It's Josephine's favorite time of year where they're coming to share her office, and so they'll be here for probably at least the next 6 weeks reviewing the 2011 finance reports. That's all I have.
That's all good news. Thank you. Tim?
I have no report, Mayor.
John?
No report, Mayor.
Mayor, I wanted to ask
Yes.
the chief a question about the overnight parking. What is the thought behind preventing a citizen from parking overnight on their street?
Well, it's been on the books for a while.
We know that there are sometimes bad laws. What's the theory behind this?
Well, I think there are several things. I don't know that I can tell you everything. I think it prevents people from leaving junk vehicles on the roadway. It prevents people from having overnight parties and then leaving all these cars around. It prevents people from parking and then vandalizing houses where we don't know whose car belongs to what. I think the main reason, I don't know if Mr. Deemert can break it down further, but I think the main reason is that you don't have cars always on the street that don't move.
So if you're having a graduation party and you have guests from out of town and they're going to stay overnight, isn't it true that once they fill up that driveway, that they can call our police dispatcher and let them know that there'll be some cars, extra cars on the street, and they would avoid then a ticket?
We do give overnight parking sometimes, yes. Permission, yes.
There's ways to avoid that.
There are
awful
ways to
parking
avoid
ticket.
a ticket for overnight parking, yes.
So what happens when you get a ticket and you ignore it? What's the first step when you get a parking ticket and it says, send in money to such and such a place, and you don't do that? What's the next step?
We issue a bench warrant.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what does that mean?
They get picked up by the police, they have to post a bond, and then they have to appear in court.
All right, and if they don't go to the police, if they get picked up, you put them in jail?
Right.
Okay. What does it cost to keep somebody in jail for a parking ticket for a week? Has it happened? Have we ever done it?
No.
Okay. I was curious.
Not that I know.
I would think it costs more than a $15 ticket, right?
Yeah, I think the ticket's $15, $20 in the first 48 hours, and I think it doubles thereafter, something like that.
It gets up to $90.
We outsource our jails, corrections are like $100 a day.
$85 we get for, yeah.
So it actually costs us more money to enforce this parking ticket.
I don't know, Mike, that we've ever had anybody sit in jail for a parking ticket. I think they usually bond out. I don't know that.
But if they
And
didn't.
We do have a code section that allows us to go after them for the cost of their incarceration.
Yeah.
Much like the Vermont Inn or
Right.
Knights Inn.
But we can avoid that parking ticket if we call the dispatcher and we make sure our driveways are full of cars, that we're not parking cars in the street when there are driveway spaces available.
Generally, the supervisor will drive by and ascertain the situation, make sure the driveway is full, see what it looks like. If there's, cars everywhere, he may say, ask your neighbor or whatever. But generally, we give them overnight parking, yes. If you get your driveway poured, if you have a new driveway poured.
And you need to park on the street for a couple of days, that's not. Now, does a policeman ever go up and knock on the door and say, hey, guys, there's 20 cars out in the street here, let's make arrangements to get them off by 2 o'clock?
Sometimes.
Okay, but that's
not always.
Or they don't have to do that.
No, they don't.
It's only if they feel like doing it.
Yes.
Is that part of the serve and protect or no?
there's various things that go on, Mike. If there's a
They're too
car,
busy.
if there's a car parked in front of your house and it's registered to you, they may in fact knock on your door. If there's a car parked in front of your house and it's registered to somebody in Sagamore Hills, they're probably not going to knock on everybody's door around there and wake everybody up and say, you got to move the...
But if there's music in the background, there's a lot of kids running around, they can assume it's a graduation party and they'll go knock on the door, right? Can we ask them to do that, or no?
If the party's still going on, I'm not sure that they'll even try and enforce the 2 a.m. because it's not overnight yet. So if the party is still going on, you've got an argument that it's not overnight.
Okay.
The reason for the rule is the aesthetics of the community, which are a governmental interest. If you allow overnight
Which we
parking-
just read about.
If you have overnight parking allowed in those communities where they are allowed, you'll notice homes have many kids with many cars these days and not enough garage space. Rather than moving cars every morning in and out of the driveway, they leave them on the street. If every house does that, you now have 2 cars in front of every house on every street. Aesthetically, it doesn't look good. It's dangerous for children going in and out of the street. It's dangerous for people backing in and out of their driveways. So there's a lot of health safety reasons besides the aesthetics of the community for which overnight parking is meant to.
Snow plowing, Jim's
Fire
Cruise.
Snow plowing, fire trucks, sure.
All right, now, I think we've answered all questions that people might have about that. There you go, thank you.
Okay, is there any unfinished business this evening? Any new business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you for coming. Our pleasure.
Hey, Joe?
How about that?